In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve the ALEKS problem called rounding to a given significant digit. This problem is going to give you a number, and ALEKS wants to know if it's possible for you to round that number to a particular number of significant figures. There's a bit of a story associated with this problem, but you don't need to pay attention to that story at all, just the number and the number of significant figures that ALEKS wants. I'm going to start by rewriting my number down here for 7.469. To solve this problem, it's going to be really helpful for you to familiarize yourself with the rules for identifying significant figures if you're not already familiar with them. So I've got the rules for significant figures over here on the right hand side. To find our significant figures, the first thing we're going to do is look for the first non-zero digit. In my number, the first non-zero digit is the 7. The first digit meaning, as you read the number from the left side to the right side, the first number that you come to that's not a 0. Rule number 2, if there's a decimal point, boom, just like that, all of the digits to the right of that first non-zero digit are also significant. So I'm just going to highlight all of them. This number has, as it is written, it has 4 significant figures. Now, I did add here the rule that you would follow if there was no decimal point originally shown in the number, like if there wasn't a decimal point there, then we would modify this just a little bit. If there was no decimal point, we would then find the last non-zero digit, which in this case is the 9, and all of the digits in the middle are also significant. I don't think that this rule is actually going to apply to this particular problem ever. I flipped through a few examples and I didn't find one where there was no decimal point originally shown, but I do have it here just in case you need it. Okay, so once you have identified how many sig figs you have in your number to begin with, you are then going to take a look at how many significant figures ALEKS wants in the number. If ALEKS wants you to write this number to less significant figures, that is always going to be possible. So for me, since I have 4 sig figs, if ALEKS wanted it to 3 sig figs or 2 or 1, all of that would be possible. So once you know that it's possible, because ALEKS wants you to write it to fewer sig figs, you are then going to eliminate as many digits as necessary to get this number down to the correct number of significant figures. When you're eliminating those numbers, I got to put my decimal point back. When you're eliminating numbers, you're going to eliminate them from the right hand side. You're not going to be eliminating them from the left. That would change the magnitude of the number. So since I'm going from 4 down to 3, I just need to get rid of 1 digit, and it's going to be the last one. Now, I can't just drop this number, as you probably know. If you're going to take a number away, a digit away, you need to think about how that affects the number immediately prior, just in terms of rounding. If that last number, if the number that we are removing is 5 or greater, then we are going to need to round the number immediately prior. So since it is a 9, which is greater than a 5, I am going to need to round that 6 up to a 7, and my answer is going to be 7.47. And just kind of as a little rule of thumb, I'll put this back a little bit, back up a little bit. So this number, the number that we are removing, if it is a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4, we're going to make no change to the number that was immediately prior. If it is a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, or a 9, we are going to round that digit up to the next highest number. Now, the only situation in which you would say no solution is if ALEKS wanted you to round to a number that had more significant figures than what you started with. So for example, in this particular problem, I started with 4 significant figures, and if ALEKS was asking me to round it to 5, I would need to say, no, I cannot do that. Or if ALEKS wanted it to 6, I would say, no. You can't just slap some zeros on the end and call it a day. That's not allowed. So if ALEKS is asking for you to round to more significant figures than what you started with, your answer is no.